Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about this dual channel 2.4 wireless microphone system, the Hollyland Lark Max. Now I've got a little list over here of the things that I like and the things that I don't like about it. I'm also going to get you a range test, a wind test, and a noise cancellation test. That's going to happen towards the end of this video, so if you just want to skip on to the test and see how this microphone performs out there, go ahead and skip towards the end of this video. You can scroll through and find those tests. Now, before I get to these details, I thought it would be helpful if I explained to you guys my journey as a content creator and using microphones. Now, the first microphones that I used were shotgun microphones, similar to this one. You put it onto your camera, and what you point at is basically what you're gonna be able to capture. You're not gonna be able to capture things that are far away. You're not gonna really be able to isolate a voice unless that microphone is really close to your talent. Now, for us, we needed a wireless microphone system because we also shoot commercially, so we weren't just creating vlogs or silly videos. We actually needed to take our prosumer gear and make some actual commercial content with it. Now, you're not seeing that content here on this YouTube channel or even on my Instagram channel. That content is actually on my girlfriend's page and a couple other friends of ours that we work with. So when the DJI Microphone One system came out, the dual channel 2.4 wireless microphone system came out, this solved so many of our problems. So we jumped into this system right away. We got some lav mics that worked with this, and really this is still a great option to this day. Now, if you're wondering about this microphone compared to the Hollyland Lark Max, honestly, it's a tough debate because they're priced at the exact same price point now. And some of the things that I have issues with this DJI microphone system, the Hollyland actually answers those problems, and some of the problems that I have with the Hollyland, the DJI Mic One actually answers those problems. So you kind of got to weigh out your pros and cons here. Let's start with the things that I like about the Hollyland Lark Max. So the price, this is $249 US. Again, the DJI Mic One is also $249. So again, you're gonna have to weigh out your pros and cons to see which system you like more. Honestly, I like them both. I think they're both great. So for $249, what are you actually getting? So let's open up this travel case and take a look at the actual microphone system. So you can see it's a little bit bigger than the DJI Mic One. It's a little bit bigger in all dimensions, and I now think that this is about the same size as the DJI Mic 2. It might be a little bit bigger. I'm gonna get that microphone and review it, so we'll be able to put these two microphone systems head to head. So the system's actually really easy to use, and that's my second point. You just open up the door, the microphones connect to the receiver, you pull the receiver out, put that right onto your camera, and now you take these body packs right here and you're able to clip these onto your talent or onto yourself. And there's two different ways that you can clip it. You've got a clip right here, and you can also use the magnetic snap right here. Now, I wouldn't really trust this. If I was like running and jumping around, I wouldn't really trust this microphone system. But if you're just walking around casually, vlogging, or you're doing a talking head video like this, I think that the magnet is gonna work just fine for you. Now let's take a closer look at the receiver and realize how easy it is to use this system. So there's a menu button right here. If I click onto that, it's gonna open up my menu. Now if I just click into our mic mode, this is gonna show me a couple different options. I've got a safety track, a mono track, and a stereo track. Now, if you don't know what stereo, mono, and safety track are, don't worry, I'm gonna explain that really quickly. When you're recording stereo, one microphone is gonna be recorded onto the right channel, and the other microphone is gonna be recorded onto the left channel. This is important because if you have two different people and you know that later on you might need to edit their voice, now you're gonna be able to isolate just talent one and just talent two. You're gonna be able to edit those voices, and then you're gonna be able to mix them in your post-processing and make that audio sound the best. Now, if you just want both microphones routed into both sides, you're gonna select the mono track. Now, what this does, it records both microphones on both the right and the left channel, so you don't have to do any of that post-processing. But if you wanted to edit somebody's voice later on, it's gonna be very difficult or nearly impossible to edit one person's voice inside that audio file. Now, the safety track, one channel will be recorded at whatever gain setting that you're choosing. For example, the left channel is gonna be recorded at 0 gain, and the right channel is gonna be recorded at a -6 dB. Now, what that ensures is that if somebody gets too loud during that recording, you know that you're not gonna be peaking that audio because you've got that safety track. This is a feature that I'm almost always using. Now, I'm not gonna do a deep dive onto the menu. This is just a great example of how simple and easy it is to use this menu system. You just click into the menu, scroll over on the wheel, hit select, and then you can hit the little circle on the right to go back. So I've got all my settings exactly how I want them. Now I'm ready to record. Okay, the next thing I really like about this system is the carrying case. Now, I have seen the DJI Mic One carrying case, and I think that this is a much better design. So the charging case and the microphones all fit in here at the bottom. This little hard flap goes over the top, and then you've got a zippered pouch on top. Now I can show you what actually comes with this kit. So we've got these little wind protectors here. This is actually a great design, and it's one of my next points for one of the things that I like. Now, this actually is kind of like a rubber material here, and there's two little slots on top of the microphone capsule, and this just goes right on top, super easy to put on. And now, even if you pull it off like this, it's not gonna come off. I like the DJI microphone system, how it's a twist lock, but this one just seems to be a little bit easier on and a little bit easier off. The DJI Mic One system, for example, is a twist lock, and it's pretty tedious to get it in, at least. Taking it off is very easy. Now, they're both secure. I'm not worried about either of them falling off. I just like this design a little bit more than the DJI Mic One. Okay, let's see what else is inside of this carrying case. I've got a whole bunch of cables here. So we've got our 3.5 to 3.5 cable, and this is a coiled cable. I like this cable more than the DJI mic system. The DJI microphone system, let's see here, is just a hard, straight cable. Nothing is wrong with this cable, but having this coiled cable just gives me a little bit more length. It keeps things a little bit more neat and tidy. I just seem to like these coiled cables a bit more than this long, straight cable, which kind of awkwardly sticks out. I always end up like doing a little loop in it like that when I'm recording. And yeah, it's just not my favorite. I really like this coiled cable, which comes with the Hollyland system. Now, the other cables that we've got, let's see, here's a data transfer cable. This is a USB-A to USB-C. So if you're needing to download your files off the internal recording, from these microphones, you're gonna use this data cable, or you can use the USB-C to USB-C, which is right here. This also is the cable that you're going to need to use if you wanna connect it to your smartphone, whether that's one of the newer iPhones or a Samsung or Android phone that uses a USB-C port. Now, this is the USB-C to Lightning adapter, and I am actually rocking the iPhone 14 Pro, so we can see that this plugs right into here. And I'll get to this later on, but I don't like this system, how this works. I think the DJI system works much better for connecting to mobile devices, and I'll get to that in a minute. So that's everything that comes with this system. I think it's nice, neat, and it packs away really simple. I'm also able to hold a little bit more storage inside here, so some of those things that I showed you that I carry in this pouch, I would be able to fit inside of this travel case right here. So I really like the travel case design. Okay, the next thing that I like about this microphone system, which is not new to these 2.4 wireless microphone systems, is the internal recording. Now, why would you need to use internal recording? Now, let's talk about the 2.4 wireless connection. So this is using a Wi-Fi connection. So this connects to this little receiver right here via Wi-Fi. And now if this has any interference, or if it has a bit of a distance, and I'm gonna get to that range test later on, and you're gonna see where this starts to fail. It's actually not too far away from the camera, especially if this cannot see this. This needs to be connected line of sight. So this needs to be able to basically see this with nothing in the middle of it. If there's something in the middle, you'll see in my test as I turn around, there's a bad dropout right there in the test shot. The internal recording is how you're gonna be able to save those files. So all you have to do is push the record button on the side. There's a little red light that turns on, and now the audio is actually recording inside of this body pack right here. It's also transmitting the file back to the receiver at the same time. So you're gonna get two audio files. You're gonna get one audio file inside the internal recording right here in the body pack, and you're gonna get the other file that might have some dropouts. There's some risk of dropouts inside of your audio file within your camera. That's the last big point that I like about this microphone system. Now let me get to a couple of these cons that I have with this microphone system, and then we'll go outside and do a couple microphone tests. First con on the list is the smartphone connection. So I have these cables here, and let's say I want to connect it to my iPhone. So I'm going to pull out this cable right here. This is my USB-C to Lightning cable. And let's get my smartphone, get my little tripod here so that we can get you a quick example. Okay, now I need the receiver right here, and I need to plug this guy in with the USB-C. Okay, and now I'm gonna plug this guy in to my iPhone. Okay, so now I'm plugged into my iPhone, and this works, the audio works, but what am I gonna do with this? This is now just hanging here, I guess. This is a pretty common little tripod here, at least here in Taiwan. I see a lot of people with this brand. This is just a smartphone tripod, and there's no cold shoe. I don't have a cold shoe anywhere on here. So like, what am I gonna do with this? I guess I'll just leave this hanging here. This is the first big con for me because I think a lot of content creators are also using their mobile device. These basic tripods that you can buy don't typically have a cold shoe. Now I know I have some little smart tripods that do have the cold shoe mount, and you could just buy, for example, you could buy a cold shoe mount and put it right there. But I think this design is a bit flawed because I think a lot of people are just gonna have this style of tripod and hope that they can just kind of connect this onto their phone or connect this onto their tripod. And it's just not the case. I think most of these basic tripods don't have an additional cold shoe mount. Now, my second con with this system is the ENC Light. The ENC is the environment noise cancellation that is built into this microphone system. So you can hear me right now talking into this microphone system. Right now, there's a green light on. And yes, that means that the noise cancellation is on. So there's a little button right here on the side. I'm gonna push this, and now you're gonna be able to hear, this is now the raw audio, no noise cancellation on there. So this whole time, this green light has been on, there's been a noise cancellation processed. So that is happening internally. You can't undo that. But my con with it is that sometimes I just forgot, is it the blue light or is it the green light? I wish that they would have put a tiny little on and off switch right here, maybe two little light indicators, just a blue light that moves up and down, or maybe it's a blue and a green light, but it has like an on and an off. I found myself having the noise cancellation on when I didn't want to have the noise cancellation on. It was just very simple for me to mix that up. And I think a lot of people would also run into that problem. So if you're wanting to use one of these lavalier microphones, you have to plug it in right here, and now this is coming out the side. And again, for most people, this is totally okay. This is gonna work just fine for them. For my case, for when we want to use this microphone for when we're doing commercial work, and I don't wanna trust this clip or rely on the magnetic snap, I wanna make sure that it's on my talent, super secure. I'm gonna use this little body pack from Ursa. Now, Ursa Straps makes these specifically for smaller body packs like this, but now that this is sticking out the side, I'm gonna get this side inside here, and it's just a little bit in there, a little bit crooked, and I just feel like for me, for my use case, I feel like that's gonna try to come out of there. Again, this is like, I'm reaching hard to find another major con. For me, with my workflow, this doesn't really fit us because the DJI One fits in there so perfectly because the lav mic just goes right onto the top. Okay, let's get outside and go and test these microphones. So right now I've got the windscreen on the microphone, I've got the gain set to 0, and I'm using my Insta360 Ace Pro right now because it has great stability, and I don't want to have to try to rig my Sony camera up onto this bike. So this should give you a great wind test example. I'm gonna go full speed here, and this bike is going 40 kilometers an hour. Let's push it a little faster. I can pedal at the same time. Let's go 43, 44, 46 kilometers an hour right now. How's the wind? Is it getting protected by the little dead cat that comes with it? I actually like the design. Let me slow back down. That should be a great test for the wind. I really like the design of the little windscreen on this one. It kind of wraps over the top, and it's got these two little sections that can kind of click into place. Some of the other ones that I've used so far, like the Lark M2. The Lark M2 is just kind of like a big bungee dead cat that goes all over the top of it. So let's continue, let's do another test. I'm gonna take the windscreen off. You can see, this is what I was just talking about. Right now I'm going 20 kilometers an hour. Let's speed up and now test it without the windscreen on. Here we go, back to full speed. A little bumpy. All right, 44, 46 kilometers an hour right here. So this should be a great test for the wind. And yeah, how's it holding up? Is that good enough? Or are we starting to get distorted wind noise coming into the recording? Okay, so I've just made it here to the Nehu pump track. This is, if you guys have seen my videos before, I come here to test the range and noise reduction on the microphones. Okay, so here I am at the Nehu pump track. I'm gonna test the Hollyland Lark Max range. It's important to note that these microphones work line of sight, so this needs to be able to see that. So as soon as I turn around, now some of my body is in the way of that connection. So it's really important to know that, because I think a lot of people think that, oh, they'll just get a wireless microphone and it's going to solve all their audio issues. Well, it is going to solve some issues, but it's also going to bring up some new issues, which is loss of connection. So if you don't have a solid line of sight, you're gonna experience some dropouts, and I'm gonna show you guys that test right here. So I'm gonna go from here, I'm gonna skateboard down the track all the way down to the big bend over there, and I'm gonna turn around. And I've done these tests multiple times, and you'll see that when I'm on my way there, I'm gonna be facing this way because I'm skateboarding, I'm facing this way, and you're gonna experience a lot of dropouts. And I'll show you guys how to fix this later on, but for right now, just know that it's gonna drop out. I know for sure it's gonna drop out probably soon, because I'm already a little ways from my camera. It's probably going to drop out about this area on this next platform, if you can see that. And then as I get down there, it's going to drop out a lot. But what's interesting is that when I turn around, now I'll get that nice connection. I'm going to be facing the camera. That microphone's going to be connected to the receiver. It's going to have a nice solid connection. And I think the Hollyland system actually does a great job. If you want to see me compare this Hollyland Lark Max compared to their M2, leave a comment down in the comment section below. Let me know if you want me to compare this to the Hollyland Lark M2. And I'm going to try to talk as much as I can as I go through here. I'm going to guess that we're already starting to experience some dropouts, especially right. I think that the microphone is connected. On these microphone tests, turning around, and now I'm facing the camera. I see one little light pole in the way, but I'm all the way down here, you can see me, and now I have a nice line of sight, and so the microphone should be connected. I've done this test multiple times. The only thing I could imagine in this test is that there's a couple more people, but nobody's in the way. So now let's see how the connection is when I'm facing the camera, the clear line of sight for the microphone, transceiver and receiver. And now we're coming back, and I'll try my best to talk as much as I can. So here we go on the way back, coming through the bumps here. Man, I was here last night skateboarding, and it is so humid this time of year. It's the rainy season here in Taiwan, and every single day for about the past week and a half, there's been a thunderstorm. All that heat and all the humidity builds up, and then we get this nice thunderstorm. Oh, here we go, little buddy. All right, so I'm gonna guess that I was connected almost the entire time. And if I wasn't connected the entire time, I'm going to show you a way that you can fix this issue. If we use the internal recording on this microphone, we're going to be able to record the entire audio recording within the Hollyland Lark Max. And then later in post-production, we're going to be able to match that audio clip up with the camera, with the video that we recorded, and there will be 0 dropouts. Okay, so now I'm using the internal recording on the microphone. And so all you have to do is push the little button on the side here, and a red light turns on. Okay, so now that we are talking about the internal recording with the Hollyland Lark Max, I wanted to show you guys how you can get the internal recording from the body pack into your computer, and then how to line it up with your video editing software. So for this, I'm using Davinci Resolve. That's the video editing software that I use. If you're using Premiere Pro or if you're using Final Cut, those should have this exact same feature. So let me just quickly show you this workflow. It's not that hard, but it would be annoying if you had clip after clip after clip. And there's kind of an easier way to do this for a lot of clips. But anyways, let's just show you this workflow right here. So I just need to minimize Davinci Resolve. I already have the Hollyland body pack right here plugged into my computer, so I can see the file name right here. It's no name. I'm going to open this up. I know that I recorded on the 22nd, and this is the file that I need to use. I'm going to open up this hard drive that I'm using, open my Hollyland Max internal, and go into my studio. And now you can see I've got this file. I just need to click, drag, and drop, wait for it to import. And it's not a large file, so it imports very quickly. I now have 2 tracks in here, so I'm just going to name this one pump track. Okay, and now I know that that's the file that I need to use to line up with this video that we're editing. And so this is the file that we're going to match. This audio clip that I have right here, this is the file that the Hollyland was transceiving to the Sony camera, to the receiver that day. Now what we want to do is replace this because there are some dropouts. So let's go in, import this file very quickly. I need that pump track file, open, and I'm just going to click and drag and drop. And now you can see that these are not lined up, and all I need to do is click and drag over all 3 of these clips, right click, look for auto align clips, and I have a waveform and a time code. I wasn't using time code, I was using the waveform, and we're going to use the waveform from track 1. We're going to sync this up, and about 2 seconds later, it's perfectly synced. I can go here to this extra spot right here. I'm going to trim this over. And now if we take a listen, let me move this over a little bit. Okay, so now I have a section right here where there are some dropouts. So I can see that I'm skateboarding here across the park, and this is the file that was actually being transmitted that day to my Sony camera, and this is the internal recording. And just by looking at the waveform, we can see there are some major dropouts. This area where the waveform is non-existent, those are the dropouts that are happening. And you can see in the internal recording that I've got all of that information, all of that audio file is there. So let's take a quick listen. I'm gonna mute the top. Let's first listen to the dropouts. So right here, little bit of connection. There's these tiny little bits of connection, but huge dropouts. Now, if we look at the internal on the bottom, let's unmute that and play that same section.
I would guess now for about almost a year.
Perfect.
At the time, it had only...
Now I've got all of that audio file there. There's still a little bit more that I can do to process this. I can hear that it's only coming out of the left channel. So I need to go in to the clip attributes, and I'm gonna turn this onto stereo. And now I can change and add this to the right channel. And now I've got, perfect, now it's coming out of both channels. So that's just a little quick behind the scenes look at the post-processing that you would have to do if you are using the internal recording. This would be for the DJI mics, for the Rode mics, it's all the same type of workflow where you internally record and then you have to actually line them up like this. And I'm actually going to replace this top track. All right, back to the video.
And that's how you know that you're recording internally in the mic. Now this also will send the signal back to my Sony camera, so I'm getting two different audio recordings. I'm getting one recorded internally, and then one is getting transmitted to my Sony camera, and that one will also, it'll get the same results as what we got earlier. We're gonna have some breakups, and I just listened to the audio on that one. I noticed that when I turned around like this, already right here that the microphone was already dropping out. Get across that platform, and that's really where the major dropouts started happening, right on that berm over there. All the way down the course here, we were just getting major dropouts. But like I mentioned, the Hollyland system does a great job when it does have line of sight, because that is very, very far away for a microphone system. I would imagine most people who are using a wireless system are gonna be even closer than I am right now. I could imagine maybe a prank show, or maybe somebody doing some action sports or something like that is gonna get about this far away from the camera, but I really don't think that there's a lot of people using these microphones this far. What these tests are able to show us is how robust and how strong the connection is. And already you can see right here, at this distance right here is about the limit for that wireless system when we don't have a clear line of sight. So let's now test the internal recording. I'm gonna go do the same exact route. I'm gonna try to talk the whole time. And now we're gonna see that we will have 0 dropouts because, let me confirm, yes, I'm recording internally on the microphone. So here we go. And let me tell you about the first time that I passed this pump track, the first time I discovered this. I've been living here for about 4 years. And this is a new park. It's only been here for, I would guess now for about almost a year. But at the time, it had only been here for a couple weeks. And I was running along this trail, trying to get some workout in, which I hate running. I hate working out. And I ran right past here, right here. And I saw all these people skateboarding, and this used to just be a big empty field, just like that one over there and that one over there. And they had taken all this asphalt and laid it down into this awesome pump track. And I skateboarded for a long time. Let me come back now. I realize the story is insignificant. We just want to hear some audio samples. Don't run over these little kids. But I love it, it's great. On the weekdays, there's not many people here. Today's a Saturday, so there's a lot of people here. And lots of little kids. I love seeing the little kids get out and play. All their families are here. It gives them something to do other than just like, go watch a baseball game or something. It's really built a cool little community here. So now we've got internal recording on the microphone. The softwares have become easier for people to be able to just auto align the clips, but if for whatever reason they got mixed up or you deleted some, and you can just run into some issues with the internal recording, which I'm a big fan of internal recording. It just adds a whole nother step to your editing process. Okay, next up, let's test the noise reduction. Now there's another button on the side of the transceiver right here, and that is to activate the noise reduction. I believe they're calling it ENC, environment noise cancellation. It's very similar to like AirPods or the noise canceling headphones that they have out now. What this is doing is it's going to eliminate some of the noise that's around me. For me, I'm not a big fan. I've already done a test from Hollyland on their Lark M2 system. I don't like the results that I'm getting. Let's see if it's any different on the Lark Max. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm not gonna go as far. Now, I do have one issue with this system, and it's the same with the Lark M2. When you push the button, all that happens is a little light on the body pack, it changes from blue to green. Green is on and blue is off. And if you, for whatever reason, forget which color is which, you might end up using noise cancellation when you don't want to use noise cancellation. Also, it's pretty easy to hit the button. So if for whatever reason somebody bumped this when they're using it as like a body pack, if you're using a lav microphone, it's pretty easy to bump that button. But anyways, let's get to the test. Right now, you're listening to this with no noise cancellation. So I'm just gonna start skateboarding. We'll do noise cancellation off first, and then you're gonna hear me turn it on and we'll hear the results. So dropping in here, we should be able to hear some wheels. You should be able to hear my voice just fine. And now I'm just gonna go this far and I'll turn around. And now let's turn it on. And now we got green, so we know that the noise cancellation is on. Okay, I'm coming back. And we should hear this attacking the wheels, and we should hear this affecting my voice. So I'm just gonna get right back up here. And now I'm gonna turn it on while I'm in motion over there. So to give you guys just another example, it might be a little more clear when I turn it on while I'm moving. So let's turn it on while I'm in motion. The green light, it's on right now, so let's turn it off. Okay, so now we've got the noise cancellation turned off. I'm gonna go a little farther this time, and I'm gonna turn it back on. Okay, noise cancellation is turned on, and we're cruising down all the way down to the other end of the park. Blue light right now is off. So I like this. I like to be able to hear the skateboard wheels. I like to be able to hear maybe a little bit of the wind. And if there's somebody passing me, for example, I like to be able to hear maybe the noise of their bike. I like to be able to hear the environment I'm in. I think it pulls you as the viewer, I think it pulls you in. Now, obviously there's a time and place to use noise cancellation. If you're, for example, in a loud room, there's a lot of reverb and there's an air conditioner or a refrigerator, you might want to use that noise cancellation. But for me, I think that these microphones, at least the Hollyland microphone system, I think it's a little bit too aggressive. And I'm not sure if somebody's out there who's way smarter than me with this audio technical stuff. Now, I'm not sure if there is a dynamic cut happening with this ENC, this environment noise cancellation, or if it is a static cut on certain frequencies. I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess that it's a static cut, but for whatever reason, the tests that I've heard, the audio samples that I've listened to, it seems almost like it's a dynamic, and it wants to, like, when there's a lot of noise and it can tell that I'm talking, it almost like cuts everything out. It just kind of sounds really weird. So what I prefer to do with my recordings is just record everything and then do the frequency cuts myself. Again, that's adding a whole nother layer to your post-production, but I think that is the proper way to do it. But I realize that there are some creators out there who would love to be able to cut the noise out. Maybe they're a streamer, or like I said, maybe you've got an air conditioner or something like that in your environment that you're constantly recording in. It is an interesting feature. So here we are, Route Hood Night Market. You can see this is the temple right on the side of me. This is the entrance to the Route Hood Night Market. It's one of the most popular night markets here. On my last video, I took the Hollyland Lark M2 inside this night market and did a couple of tests. I'm gonna do the same thing with you guys. This is a good environment for me to test the ENC, the environment noise cancellation. As you guys can hear, as I'm going through, the audio is changing every time I go through each one of these little stalls, each one of these booths. So I know there was a game show on that, a game store on that side. Okay, I found the game store, and there's a ton of people and there's a ton of noise. So here we go. Right now I have no noise cancellation turned on. Just to give you an example. So just walking through. This is a place that I would want to use some noise cancellation. All of the beeps on the side, all of the noises going on here. I'll do the noise reduction as I'm walking through. So right now the noise cancellation is on. I'm gonna turn it off. Okay, so here the noise cancellation is turned off. And let's turn the noise cancellation on right here. Now it's on, so now you should be able to hear that attacking these noises, and you should be able to hear it attacking or affecting my voice. All right, and that should be all for this test.
Now, if you have any questions about the Hollyland Lark Max system, go ahead and drop it in a comment down below. I'll try my best to answer your questions. And that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.